So things are starting to move ahead of the January transfer window for Man United, with Fabrizio Romano confirming a deal for one player is advancing. But what else could happen in the January transfer window? We will be covering that in today's video. There's a few updates on Mason Greenwood, his future and more. Richard Arnold has officially left. That is signed off on Companies House, which is the government documents. We've got a few news stories on injuries. Amad Diallo expected to be given a first start very, very soon. And of course, Man United versus Bayern tonight. We'll be doing a preview to that game, discussing what my starting 11 is and more. So please do hit that like button if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below if you're new. So a very different story came out on Greenwood today that I quickly want to dive into, as it's been doing the rounds on Twitter. And it was said that Lazio remain interested in Mason Greenwood and want to sign him in January. They are willing to offer a loan deal with an option or obligation of close to 30 million. The player's contract expires in 2025 and Man United are looking to monetize from his transfer. To be honest, Man United, this could be one of Man United's best options, because realistically, if we don't sell him this summer, he goes for 3. I think Man United are in a position where they don't really know if they can give him a new contract or not, or they don't know if he can really stay. He's been okay at Getafe. He's still getting warmed up. I think you can only really judge the second half of his spell at Getafe because he hadn't played in a year and a half. He's not been brilliant, but he's not been awful. I mean, he's been better than our wingers, but that's not hard. But I wouldn't say he's been so good that it's a question of, oh, he needs to come back. I know some people want him back. I think it's a situation of actually how well does his loan end? What are the best offers out there? What's the best way that they can either sell him so he doesn't go to a rival and they make money, or utilise his loan as well? So I think that potentially he'll finish out at Getafe. I would expect that to happen. He looks very settled in Getafe. And then I think in the summer, the whole Greenwood situation will heat up. I think it's one of those where there's rumours in January, but I don't expect anything to happen to the summer, in all honesty. And look, the part of me thinks he could come back to United. I think if he ends his loan spell at Getafe quite well, he could come back to United. But another part of me goes, could that be a big risk? I'm not sure. It depends really with Ratcliffe and Ineos. They'll be the people making the decision, which is why I think no decision is going to be made until summer, so that news is kind of pointless. It was also said by Fabrizio Romano that Eintracht Frankfurt are leading the race to sign Donny van der Beek on loan from United. Talks are advancing. Girona have also asked for van der Beek on loan, but are offering different conditions at this stage. Time for a decision soon. Donny will leave United. So Fabrizio Romano has confirmed Donny will leave United, but he's saying, look, this first January deal is advancing. Donny van der Beek talks with Frankfurt are advancing. I think that would be a great move for Donny. I think he would suit the Bundesliga really well. And Romano's confirmed Donny will leave in January and that the Donny deal is advancing. And the fact that we got confirmation from David Ornstein yesterday that Martial is leaving, and then today we get confirmation from Romano that Donny is leaving, it's some of the deadwood getting out. Because I see a lot of people sit there saying, sell Shaw, sell Bruno, sell Rashford. And look, you're allowed whatever opinion you want, but surely the deadwood is the most important people to sell. The Martials, the Donny van der Beeks. And it looks like we're finally getting rid of some deadwood. Now, Casemiro is a player where some fans want him sold, some fans want to keep him. I'm a big fan of Casemiro. I think he's been poor this season, but I think it's been due to the structural layout of how Erik ten Hag plays. That's not really suited anyone that's played as a 6. And I think Casemiro is one of those, if a big offer comes in summer, I'm not going to say no because of his age. And I think in possession, he's a bit of a liability. But he's not a player that's in my top 5 to sell or top 6 to sell, whereas he is for some people. I like Casemiro. I think he's a great player. I'm sure he'll get into great form. But interesting reports that come out from France that Casemiro is intrigued at the possibility of going to PSG, which is interesting. Is because there's a report yesterday saying he's interested in going to Bayern. And that was according to Sports Zone via France Football News, who claim United midfielder is a candidate to join the French football giants after falling out of favour with Ten Hag. I don't think Casemiro is going anywhere in January. I know that Ten Hag really likes the guy and he's not fallen out of favour. He's just injured. Ten Hag's a big fan of Casemiro. I know that Man United don't want Casemiro going anywhere, but may assess in the summer, depending on if his form picks up, depending on offers. And apparently Varane also wants to stay at United, but he could be open to a January move if Ten Hag's not going to give him minutes. Varane and Casemiro exit in the summer is more likely. Varane exit is looking more likely than Casemiro. It is expected big stars like Varane, Casemiro could be on the way out of Manchester United in 2024. Please do hit that like button if you have not already. I want to quickly get through this bit of news because I spoke about it in yesterday's video, but it was said that Amad Diallo is expected to be promoted to the first 11 in the coming weeks after returning from injury, because Taylor wants to take a look at him in action to assess what he's going to do with him in the January window. Is he going to put him out on loan again? He did brilliant at loan last year at Sunderland. or is he going to keep him because we're very much losing Sancho in January? Martinez and Casemiro also expected back in a few weeks. And of course, reports of Richard Arnold's departure being finalised. The departure of Richard Arnold has been formalised with Company's House as he's replaced by Patrick Stewart. Now, Patrick Stewart's just a temporary replacement. It's expected that Blanc will come in once the Ineos deal is settled. But the interesting thing is some sources saying the takeover announcement will be before Xmas. It will be this or next week. And other people are saying, no, it's going to go into January. It's mad because we've been told in November it'll be next week, it'll be next week, it'll be next week. And every week since about the 4th of November, we've been told it's going to be next week. And it hasn't been next week. But enough of the transfer news, the takeover news, the boring news. We've got a big game tonight versus Bayern Munich. So let's talk about that game, the starting 11 and more. So this is a very interesting game because basically if we win, we're in Europe, but that doesn't necessarily mean we'll be in the Champions League. Best case scenario is we win, Copenhagen and Galatasaray draw, which to be honest, they're probably quite equal sides. We drew to Galatasaray. I think they did draw to Copenhagen in one of the games. The ideal scenario is we win, they draw, we get promoted. If we lose, we're completely out of Europe. If we win and one of the other teams win, we're in the Europa League. I don't know what I want because part of me is like, maybe if we win the Europa League, that's our best way of getting in the Champions League and getting silverware next season. But then Liverpool are just levels ahead of us and they're in the Europa League. Part of me is like, can I be bothered for Thursday night football? We can get a rest. We can maybe catch up and focus on the league if we get knocked out. Part of me really just wants to win and hope they draw. I mean, the best case scenario is we end up in the Champions League 100%. And I do want to win this game. But part of me is like, if we do lose and Copenhagen and Galatasaray draw, I'll be absolutely fuming. But if we do lose and Galatasaray win, I'll be like annoyed, I'll be frustrated, but it'll be that, okay, we're out of Europe. Maybe we've got that period of rest, if you get what I say. If we lose and they draw, I will lose my mind. But what is my lineup? I know Onana's been fishy in the Champions League, but I am playing Andre Onana in goal. I think I'd rather have Wan-Bissaka at right back this game just for defensive reasons. And at left back, I would put Luke Shaw. I know he's all right at centre back, but he's got to play left back because he'll link up with Garnacho really well here. Now, this is what I'm doing, and Ten Hag's not going to do it. But I want Varane and I want Maguire. I want Varane on the right-hand side and Maguire on the left-hand side. Ten Hag's just not going to do it, and it's weird because Varane is better than Johnny Evans. Varane is better than Lindelof, and you're playing Luke Shaw out of position. Please. I'd actually go with this, but I don't think Ten Hag's going to do this. I'd go with Amrabat, Maino, and I would go with Bruno. I'm 99.999% sure McTominay is going to play. I would play Højlund as the striker because he's been immense in the Champions League. He's got that sort of confidence and that psychology where you always feel like he's going to score in the Champions League. And at right wing is difficult because there's Pellistri, there's Antony, there's Rashford, although there are rumours that Rashford could be a doubt for today's game going about. Part of me thinks maybe Pellistri, just for like work rate and stuff, but then I don't know if he does enough, but then Antony doesn't do enough, and then Rashford's not doing enough, and we're really slim on options and stuff. So I don't really know, in all honesty, who I want to see at right wing. I really don't. We're really, really thin for options. Probably edge at Pellistri, but I do think Antony's been better. You know what? I'm going to go with Antony, and if he's crap, we bring on Pellistri at half-time. I think that would be my lineup. So this is what I would do. Now I'm going to tell you exactly what Ten Hag would do. It will be McTominay coming in here. I think he could go with that front three, and then I think he's going to play Johnny Evans. I generally think he's going to play Johnny Evans. He's going to play Maguire, and he's going to play Delo. This is what I think Ten Hag's going to do, which isn't my ideal lineup because look, while McTominay scores the goals, the imbalance in midfield, because it'll be something like this. Like in possession, we're going to look something like this, okay? Garnacho's going to come out. Antony's going to hold the width here. Delo's going to come right up here in possession. Shaw will come right up here. Bruno will sort of fill in up here to link up with these guys. McTominay fills in here to link up with these guys. Amrabat goes on the halfway line. Johnny Evans comes up, gives support. Maguire stays low. All of a sudden, we lose the ball. Opposition transitions for us. That's Bayern Munich. That's Harry Kane. That's all those talented players they have. So, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of what I think we're going to do, but I think that's what we'll do. Anyway, please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. I do apologise that this lighting makes me look like an absolute ghost. I look so pale and so white in this lighting. I promise you I'm not ill. See you next time. Bye.